was a kid, I spent most of my time exploring outside. That's where I discovered the power of nature, plants, and science. My whole world changed, and there was no looking back. Some people have diaries. I kept notebooks of all my adventures. Whatever I need to find, a faraway place, an old friend, or a window to the world beneath our feet. It's all in there. Just turn the page and whoa! My name is Maria, and these are my nature notebooks. I love looking at all the beautiful colors the trees turn in the fall. When the days are shorter, there is less sunlight. Plants need lots of sunlight to grow. And when they're growing, they're green. When they're not growing, they turn shades of orange, yellow, red, and brown and fall off the trees. But don't worry, in the spring, when the sun is out for longer times each day, the leaves will start to grow again. Around this time of year, I really start to see strange mushrooms popping up from the ground. Let's take a look and see if we can discover more about the fungus among us.
Hi, I'm Greg Mueller. I'm Chief Scientist and Vice President for Science here at the Chicago Botanic Garden. And as you can see, looking around, it's late fall, which means it's almost Halloween. And when I think of Halloween, not everybody does, but when I think of Halloween, I think of fungi. Throughout the ages, there's been all of these wild and crazy stories about mushrooms and how mysterious they are and spooky they are. If you read mystery novels or anything, anytime that people start wanting to have dank and dark and mysterious, they always evoke fungi, which is pretty unfair. Fungi evoke all kind of interesting ideas. We have toadstools, right? Toadstools just emerging mysteriously out of the ground. But really, these fungi are growing in the soil, in the wood, for a long period of time, the thin microscopic filaments that make up most of the life cycle of these organisms. And when the conditions are right, they pop up overnight, but they've been there for a long period of time. One of the mushrooms that, immediately comes to my mind when I think Halloween is the jack-o'-lantern fungus. And it's called the jack-o'-lantern for two reasons. It's pumpkin orange and it glows. Now, we can't see it during the daytime, but if you take the jack-o'-lantern and go into a very dark room, so dark that you can't see your hands in front of your face, and then let your eyes adapt to the dark, you'll see this green, eerie glow. And jack-o'-lantern is only one of 3 mushrooms we have in this area that bioluminesce. So there's the jack-o'-lantern. The other common one around here is the honey mushroom. And the mycelium, this thin microscopic threads, the mycelium is what bioluminesces. Foxfire is actually the name for this glowing mycelium. And I get phone calls from people on a dark night that said, my wood pile is on fire, it's glowing. That's really just the foxfire fungus growing through the wood. One of my favorite places to collect and to look for fungi is in old, abandoned, or at least not super well-tended graveyards. Because these are usually pretty much undisturbed. They've been around for a while, and you can find really great mushrooms popping in there. And there are several different mushrooms that give off blood-like substances. So there's the blood tooth fungus, there is the bloodfoot. There's a number of different fungi that give off kind of a red liquid that looks very bloody. They're not blood, they're just giving off other things, but they sure do look like blood. So there's a group of orchids called the Dracula orchids, And Dracula orchids make use of these insects that feed on fungi. And some of these Dracula orchids actually look like mushrooms. So they're actually mushroom mimics. They have the same smell and compounds they're emitting to fool the flies to come and pollinate them. Zombie ants. Zombie ants are ants when they're parasitized by certain fungi. And the fungi take control of the ant's brain. And so what'll happen is, as the ant is being consumed by the fungus, the first thing it does, it crawls up the tree to a leaf and then does what, a death grip basically, and it's positioned perfectly so that when the fungus then puts out its mushroom, its spore body, it's in a position that the spores can be spread as easily and best as possible. So here is an organism that is actually under control by the fungus. Very cool. One thing always associated with Halloween are horror flicks. And so one of those great horror flicks is The Blob. And it turns out The Blob was actually based on a slime mold. And so slime molds are fungus-like organisms that grow out and look just like that. It looks like a big blob. You know, I get all kind of great, interesting phone calls. So one morning I get to my office, the phone rings, I pick it up, and there's woman on the other line that's pretty hysterical. She says, "We woke up this morning and there was this blob on the soil. It was about the size of a quarter, and now it's the size of a teacup. And my husband's out there with a shotgun. And he touched it and it started bleeding." And I said, "Okay, calm down. It's gonna be a slime mold." And she didn't quite believe me. She said, "Can my husband bring it in?" I said, "Sure." So he brings it in. He must have got a backhoe because he brought in about, 3 feet of soil for this little thing in the middle of it. And then I went up and I touched it and said, "See this?" And he goes, "You touched the mushroom." Anyway, so the blob still elicit all kind of interesting responses to people. So, these are just some of the cool, scary stories about fungi. But in reality, you don't need to worry about them. The more you know about fungi, the more interesting they are, but you also recognize that they're not going to hurt you unless you eat the wrong ones. And so remember, there are deadly toxic mushrooms if you eat the wrong ones. But for the most part, they're not going to hurt you. They're actually doing great things in the environment and great things for you.
If you're like me, you probably love making a jack-o'-lantern for Halloween. Did you know that there are so many different things that you can do with pumpkins? You can paint them, you can roast and eat the seeds, you can even make things like pumpkin pie and yummy bread. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I used to love going to the pumpkin patch. I used to love going and seeing all the pumpkins. There were so many and all these different shapes and sizes and colors. Most of them were orange, but some of them were green and white and red and blue. Some were even shaped weird or lumpy or bumpy. And I'd always take my time and look at all the pumpkins until I found my favorite, the perfect pumpkin for me. Let's go to the pumpkin patch together and see what all the pumpkins are up to.
Oh, hey Duncan, what's up?
Well, hey Maria. Oh, not too much. Just hanging here in my pumpkin patch with my pumpkin pals.
That sounds cool. Have you made any new pumpkin friends?
Well, I sure did. Well, did you know that pumpkins really love to talk to each other about pumpkins?
I did not know that.
Well, yeah. I mean, basically, we're the reason for the season, you know? There's actually a lot of other things I learned about pumpkins, too. Would you like to hear them?
You bet I would.
Okay, well, buckle up, because this fact is crazy. Did you know that pumpkins are actually a fruit?
Really?
We are fruit. Isn't that wild?
Is it because you have seeds?
Yes, exactly right. According to the Guinness Book of World Pumpkins, world records, the largest pumpkin was 2,624 pounds.
Wow, I can't imagine having to carry that big of a pumpkin.
I know, and I thought I was pretty big at 2 pounds, but nope, just 2 pounds.
Do you have any plans for Halloween?
Oh, I'll probably just stay around here at the pumpkin patch and do the old tradition of singing Halloween carols, the usual. How about you? What are your Halloween plans?
Well, first, on Halloween, we're gonna go home because we have been growing some fruits and vegetables. So we're gonna eat those for dinner first, and then I'm gonna go trick-or-treating.
Awesome! What's your costume?
A pumpkin.
Oh, well, I think that's just an excellent choice.
It was great talking to you, Duncan. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, Maria. Thanks for stopping by. Be safe. Have fun.
You too. I'll see you later.
We had so much fun today, and I cannot wait for our next adventure. Now remember, you too can create nature notebooks just like these. See you next time.